Welcome to Inside Out, Mental Health at Work and in Life, where we explore how everyday moments shape deeper patterns of inclusion, exclusion, and how we treat each other at work and beyond. Today I want to talk about something small, a sigh. A recent employment tribunal ruled that repeated sighing by a manager towards a neurodivergent employee could be considered a breach of the Equality Act. That might sound minor to some, trivial even, but it's not. Because sighing isn't neutral, it never has been. In this case, the claimant, a part-time software engineer with ADHD, experienced what the tribunal described as a dismissive, belittling pattern of behaviour, including repeated sighs and exaggerated exhalations from their manager. This wasn't a one-off, it was persistent. And when behaviour like that is directed at someone with a known condition that affects emotional regulation and sensitivity to rejection, it matters. It communicates something, even if you didn't mean it to. It reminded me of something that happened recently. I was calling Access to Work to chase up a payment. The person on the phone sighed. A long, tired, wordless sigh, followed by silence. And I found myself wondering, was that just frustration with a broken system, or something more? Because that's the thing. In public services, in HR, in mental health work, we talk a lot about policies, procedures, frameworks. But culture is what people feel in the moment, and a sigh can say more than 1,000 tick-box actions ever will. The Equality Act is clear. Employers must make reasonable adjustments for disabled people, including neurodivergent staff and service users. The law doesn't only protect against deliberate acts, it protects against cumulative harm. Those everyday slights and slippages that people in power often don't even notice, but the person on the receiving end feels repeatedly. When I shared this story online, the reaction was mixed but powerful. Some people welcomed the tribunal ruling. Others felt deeply uncomfortable. Some asked, have we gone too far? What if the sigh wasn't even about the person? What if the manager was neurodivergent too? And those are valid questions. But here's what I'd offer in response: context and consistency matter. A single sigh? Maybe it was tiredness. But persistent patterns, especially in an unequal relationship, can easily cross the line from thoughtless to discriminatory. And this is where organisations often fall short. We train people in equality law, maybe we offer the odd webinar on neurodiversity, but we don't build in space for deep reflection on how our behaviour lands. We don't ask staff to think about how power and emotional labour play out, especially in roles where you're supposed to help, support, or listen. So what are we really saying when we dismiss these moments as nothing? What message do we send to the person who already feels like they have to fight for basic respect? We need to understand that sighs, eye rolls, tone, silence, they're not just quirks. They're part of the emotional language of the workplace, and when used dismissively or habitually in situations of power imbalance, they can harm, especially if the person on the receiving end already feels unseen, misunderstood, or exhausted by a world not built for them. To be clear, this isn't about demonizing people for being human. We all sigh. But if someone tells you your sighs are making them feel dismissed or excluded, it's not about policing your breath. It's about understanding your impact and deciding whether you care enough to adapt. Compassion isn't policy, it's culture. It's the way we answer phones, the tone we use in meetings, the patience we show when someone asks for help. You can't legislate for kindness, but you can certainly design systems that either enable or erode it. So if you work in leadership, HR, public services, Ask yourself this: do people feel respected here, or merely tolerated? Do they feel safe to speak up, or are they sighing inwardly and keeping quiet? Because it's never just about a sigh. It's about what follows, and whether people feel seen or silently pushed aside. Thank you for joining us on this episode of Inside Out: Mental Health at Work and in Life. If you found today's episode helpful, please share it with someone who might benefit from these insights. And as always, we'd love to hear your thoughts. Let's keep this conversation going. Drop us a message or connect with us on social media. Until next time, take care of yourselves and each other.